And finally, we are back with another Ask the Producer series. Welcome, everyone. My name is Adam, and today we are going to ask the question, what does Sabrina, Carpenter, Dua Lipa, all of the kind of like rap with the good kind of happy vibes and like a housey beat got in common? Well, disco. So with that, we're going to jump into the studio and we're going to talk about how to create one of those disco beats that you hear on pop and R&B and rap and all in between. So let's check it out. Now that we're in the studio, we are going to add something that is called the disco double. And here, double disco, kick and snare, and tops. These two are a great starter point for disco in general. So I'm going to put on my headphones and we're going to listen to it. I think for a lot of the more modern tracks, we have a pretty slow tempo at the moment. So we have 108. So I'm going to raise this to 115, adjust it, and here we go. Now, with the faster your disco track is going to go, the harder it is to make sure that it grooves like disco. So now that we are in here, there's a couple things that we can learn from this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a drum track. Patterns Beatmaker is totally fine. I am going to just pick a random kit. Let's see. I think I had a kind of like for the Ascent kit for some reason. So I'm just going to add that now that we can play it. Let's see. Smacks. So inside of the piano roll, we're going to do something as simple as just add something to the kick and snare patterns. And what we can see here is that kick comes first, then we have a snare hit that hits here. But as you can see, it's a little bit off grid. So if we were to add it exactly on the beat, it would be right here. Now, the actual transient happens just a little bit after, but there is something in between here as well. Now, with that, we know that we can add, so this is kick, snare, double kick. So I'm going to add a kick right here and another kick on the one. So now we have the kick pattern out. The one thing that we want to make sure is that we can see that the volume of these kicks are different. So I'm going to go into the velocity tool, bring this kick down a little bit so we get like a, just like the beat. Same thing now with the snare. So we're going to add a snare hit right on the beat. And then we're going to add another one, a clap. And that clap, I'm going to shift back to exactly where that one is. And to do this effectively, you just hit Command, click, and then you can drag it without it snapping. So if I let go of Command, it's going to snap between the grid lines, right? There, that's where I want it. So now we have a short beat going like this. And there already we have a groove going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue this off screen just for effectivity, just to be a little bit more effective, and add the same thing again and again. So bear with me. What we can do is we can go into this clap and we can move it back just a little bit more and see what it sounds like. So I'm going to drag the loop bar back to the 2 bars and zoom in again and make sure that it's easier for us to get a little bit more granular on this and then listen to it. So as it prolongs it, it kind of like makes it feel a little bit more tumbly, which makes you groove a little bit more. Another thing now that we can look at here is the Prism, is the double disco tops. And this is a very, very standard pattern that you can hear in a lot of disco tracks. So what I'm going to do here is going to add another drum track because I want to be able to control this a little bit better. We can go into the kits. We can listen to a couple of them. I think this can kind of work very well for what we're trying to achieve. So here I'm going to add a region. I'm going to add a hit snare on every other beat. So we cover our bases. Now here inside of the region, we can go into the piano roll and do the every other. As you can see in the audio file that we have, every other beat is a little bit softer. So I'm going to do that by selecting all of these, going into the velocity tool, pulling down, And now we have this. And we can do that even more subtle. So just with those two now, the MIDI tracks that we have made, we have this. Now, another thing that really defines this type of genre is what is. And another thing that does define this genre very well is the bass together with it. So the entire package kind of becomes, so the drums and the bass becomes the rhythm package. So now we're going to go in to look for a disco bass. Now we have something along the lines of, we're just going to pull this in for the sake of it. And now listen to what we have. Now I think that snare hit might be a little bit too late. So it's like, it's really, really, really going off grid here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select those, go to the pointer tool, and then move them back just a little bit. So now that we have the bass added and we've extended our little pattern that we have now, I'm going to go into something that is very stereotypical for disco, is guitar. So guitar and disco, we'll find a couple of things out of the Orange and Vertigo pack. We're going to listen to a couple of them. Let's see if we can add this and see what it sounds like. Yeah, those don't really work together. Let's go for our next one. And this is a stereotypical disco sound that we have here. So we got some phaser on there. So we got some wah on there. And just being very high-pitched repetitive pattern. But together with everything, it has. And because it's just playing one key, we can actually do and change this and transpose it down. Let's see. There we go. And now we can just go in and add whatever we want. So we want to expand this little thing. I think maybe a Rhodes might be in order for the sake of it. We'll actually try to add these, and what we can do here is actually go into edit, quantize, and then swing. So we can swing some of the notes. What we can do here is just make sure that the entire track just continues to develop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy over these, keep the guitars, and move the chords over. So now we have a transition going from the bass line and then we're back into the final groove sort of thing happening. And this is the kind of arrangement as well. So you can hear a lot of things kind of falling off. There's not a lot of space in there because the bass is centered. There's the drums that is just grooving on. And then there might be some sort of ear candy with the guitar. And then you have this sort of evolving feeling with the chords coming in and then falling off and back again. So you're thinking about that rising in tension and then release. So that's what you get with these types of chords going into and then back type of tension and release thing. So with all of that said, I hope you enjoyed this and found it informative on how to program your first disco beat. I wanted to thank you so much for watching. If you have another question, leave them in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.